Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Group, proudly brought to you by Lay of the Land. Now, as you might notice, not only am I not in my usual studio in Modena, I'm in Basel, Switzerland, where we are celebrating 125 years of the World Zionist Organization and the dream of one man, Theodor Herzl. And I'm also not by myself today. I have a very, very special guest, the chairperson of World WITO, Anita Freeman. Anita, welcome to the Israel Group.
Thank you, Rolly. Thanks for having me.
We're in Basel, Switzerland. We're celebrating 125 years of Zionism. What does this mean to you as a leader of one of the premier Zionist organizations in the world?
This is amazing. It shows us that Zionism is alive and kicking. And you have to see the amount of not only people, but young people that came here. Because one of the most important messages that is coming out of the Zionist Congress is young people, come, join us, create the state of Israel that you want to see. It's a democracy and it's alive to the nations, and come be part of it.
Well, that's such an important message, because what is Zionism to people? Everybody has their own definition of Zionism. Simply put, Zionism is the national liberation movement of the Jewish people. Now, we're here discussing a whole host of issues. We're looking at the challenges, we're honoring the past, we're looking at innovation, and we're also joined by allies and friends. Now, last night, an extraordinary moment for all of us, as a Druze sheikh was honored for his commitment to the state of Israel and for his commitment to the Zionist movement. And also, who would have thought it, an Emirati sheikh honored for his work in Holocaust education. As a Jewish leader, as a woman's Jewish leader, seeing this happen, what does this mean to you?
It means that we are doing the right thing. We as WITSO have an impact not only in Israel as an organization, making sure that the state of Israel and the people of Israel are resilient and building a society that it's equal, that it gives chance to everybody, but also that our movement, the part that our federations are filling in, it's very, very important, which is the connection between everything and everybody. We have soft diplomacy, Hasbara, we fight anti-Semitism together with Berlin. Of course, she's part of our executive and she's in charge of these issues. And for us, this is where it comes together, and you can see it here.
Now, we're surrounded by a ring of steel, very, very tight security here in Basel, Switzerland, because as we understand today, Israel Jews are not without their detractors on the outside. Yesterday, a sizable demonstration by the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement, thank goodness, headed off by security. But this is one of the issues that we're discussing here today, is how to combat anti-Semitism. And I must say, as an Israeli landing yesterday, it was a sucker punch to the gut. You realize that you're out of Israel when you see the amount of security that has to surround Jewish installations, Jewish events, just like this is. But to me, the best answer to that kind of hatred is to have events exactly like this, and to wear your Jewish identity, your Zionist allyship, because I know so many of you watching are not Jewish. We have our incredible Christian friends, our incredible friends across the Muslim world, especially our Gulf communities. And we wish we could bring you all here. So what we're trying to do right now is give you just a couple of minutes with us at the World Zionist Congress. Anita, any message to our allies from communities that are not Jewish, that are joining in the fight against anti-Semitism? And the fight not only against anti-Semitism, because we also have to remember Israel is a country beyond a conflict. We have so many different angles, so many different sides, so many different achievements, and such a bright future ahead. You know, parallel to this is an incredible conference taking place as well for big impact for entrepreneurs. People like Sylvan Adams, major entrepreneurs, looking at ways for Israel to continue to be a light unto the nations, continue to bring Herzl's dream of Tikkun Olam, of helping other countries, to fruition. your message to
Thank
our
you.
allies.
First of all, thank you. Thank you for all you do. We need as many allies as we can get. Anti-Semitism is a civil rights issue. It's not only a Jewish issue, it's a world issue in general. We are the canary in the mine because once they come for one of us, anything can happen afterwards. So yes, we combat racism of any kind. We combat anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, anything that has to do with hatred. So I thank you for the work you're doing among your communities. And if you need any help, if you need anything, we're here for you.
As Anita just said, anti-Semitism is not just a Jewish problem, it's a civil society issue that all civil society organizations that are committed to the fight against racism and otherisms and discriminations should be taking up. This morning we heard from the former director of the Mossad, Yossi Cohen, speaking about the threats that Iran poses, not just to the state of Israel, but to the West and to the world as a whole. We also heard from the EU's Commission Chief on Anti-Semitism, combating anti-Semitism, Katerina von Schnurban, on the incredible programs that the EU has in place to combat this growing hatred in all its manifestations, the right and the left, and the way that it meets in the middle. We've heard from people like Brooke Goldstein leading litigation against discrimination. We've heard from the anti-defamation lead Jonathan Greenblatt, also leading in fighting anti-Semitism. But Zionism is not just about fighting anti-Semitism, it's about building a brighter future for Israel and for the Jewish world. Now I want to thank you, Anita, for taking the time today, dragging you away from all the people who want your pictures and want your attention to chat to us on the Israel Week. As you all know me, I'm Rodney Marks. This is the Israel Week. Thank you to Anita Friedman, chairperson of World Reader, and thank you to this guy, Theodore Herzl, because he said, if you will it, it is no dream, and today, that dream is a reality. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow.